Minnesota versus St. Louis, man. This is going to be an unreal series. It's officially locked in. They still got to determine home ice. We'll know that later this week. This is probably the most evenly matched series. Even if you pulled other teams out, these teams both have 109 points. Wild do have a game in hand. Probably the two hottest teams in hockey. The Blues 14-0-2 in their last 16. Wild 19-2-4 in their last 25. Two red-hot squads, and it's unfortunate what we've been talking about it. One of these teams is going to have to go home in the first round, and they're going to feel like a failure, but it's not necessarily the case. But I don't know, man. Who do you think's going to win this one?
I don't think the fans deserve the fact that these two teams are meeting in the first round, because they've had these unbelievable 82-game seasons in which they've rallied and put these fucking runs together right before playoffs, one of which is not even going to get home ice advantage, which is nuts. And Whit, I'm going to throw it to you right now. I would lean towards whoever gets home ice advantage wins the series.
I'm going to just read this before I go into kind of
Don't
my
hurt
opinions
yourself
here. The Minnesota Wild are 15-1-3 since they got Fleury. They're playing the Blues in the first round. The two teams combined since March 21st are 33-5. 30 wins, 3 losses, and 5 overtime losses. The fact that these two have to play in the first round, I said it last podcast, is so unfair for the fan base who loses, because both of these teams could realistically go on a run and win the Stanley Cup. No doubt about it in my mind. I'm picking the Blues.
Really?
I'm picking the Blues. I love Bill Guerin. I love Wild fans. This is a tough series for me because I love both of these fan bases. I love both of these teams. I'm picking the Blues. And the one thing I'm saying, my Ryan Whitney guarantee is this goes 7 games. So what's going to happen is Minnesota might sweep them now. But nonetheless, it is going 7 games, and I'm on the Blues. And the reason I'm on the Blues is depth down the middle, okay? I look at O'Reilly. I look at Thomas. I just – the centers that the Blues play, okay, every single night you can get great all-around play from all of them, and that's not that is not saying that you can't in Minnesota. But O'Reilly, Thomas, and then Bozak – Kairu's playing with Bozak and Barbashev right now. It's like that is the third line, technically, when you look at the listing. Tarasenko, Thomas, and Buchnevich is their best line, I think. But then the way Perron plays with O'Reilly, who in the playoffs is a complete beast, and then Brandon Saad, who's won Stanley Cups. It's Saad, excuse me. I shouldn't have said Saad. The forward depth up front is so good. While I look at through the middle and winning games, and I actually lean towards Talbot and Fleury as a little stronger goaltending, but just knowing the fact that even though Binnington may not start, the fact that they can go to him, they can go to a Stanley Cup winner who's proven himself in the playoffs, it has me leaning St. Louis. This is so difficult to pick. There's so many different factors that play into this. And Biz, you're 100% right, because it's going 7 games. So that 7th game, whoever has home ice has a distinct advantage. But the fact that they're both playing more than anything bums me out. I do think it'll be one of the best first-round matchups we've ever seen. I think it's a mirror. Both teams look at each other. They see the exact same thing. Maybe Minnesota's a little bigger up front. And I don't think there's a defenseman as good as Jared Spurgeon on St. Louis side. But I just look at the 3 centers, and I look at how the season's gone and how St. Louis has played. I know Minnesota's played great lately, and as the Blues have, but the Blues in person, when I watched them beat up the Bruins a few weeks back, it just kind of leans towards this is the same type of team that won the Stanley Cup. And I know there's no Pietrangelo, but the depth up front and the goaltending, it's a difficult decision. I'll be happy either way, but I'm on the Blues.
What a breakdown there. Look, round of applause for you, Whit. I don't got much to clean up on, and I agree with a lot of your saying, other than the fact that I think that Minnie's going to win.
Okay.
They got a few more game breakers to a different level, Kaprizov being that X factor. But as far as you mentioned, as depth up front, I want to say St. Louis has 8 20-goal scorers. Minnesota has 6, but Minnesota has 2 30-goal scorers, or excuse me, 3 30-goal scorers. So they have some guys who are, as I said, a little bit more able to elevate and kind of put the team on their back, so to speak. So the game breakers are the biggest difference for me. I agree with you, though. Then when you got that top line and then O'Reilly's just got the shutdown duties. It's not looking good for Minnie, but you mentioned the physicality. I think that Minnesota is a little bit bigger, and they got to go in with that mentality. They got to go in with the mentality. They got to run them through the wall and try to run them out of the building.
I think that, yeah, Kaprizov's the best player in the series, say. But if you can shut down Zuccarello, Kaprizov, and the Hartman line, you know, Frederick Gaudreau's not playing on the top three lines in St. Louis. He's the second line center, right? With Fiala. So it's like, I think if you're able to shut down the top line in Minnesota, which O'Reilly, how are you going to bet against him not being able to do that? Then it takes over the Thomas line, and then Bozak and Kyrou, and it's like the depth up front, I think, is what's going to win this series. I'm with you. I've said 7 games. I'll be happy for either team, but because of the top 9 in St. Louis, I'm going with them.
Fair enough. And then as far as Fiala, RA, before you hop in
what
here.
What a season. Holy
I know
shit.
that Dmitry Filipovic, great follow on Twitter. He's always got these guys' stat lines out. But Fiala, he's had a great end of the season. Last 10 games, 10 goals, 13 assists, 11 of them primary assists. 15 5-on-5 points, 66 shot attempts. So he's been a beast down the stretch. And as I said, he's one of those guys that if he can continue to elevate offensively, it's going to be a pain in the ass for that Blues back end. And I don't know, maybe Husso doesn't have the best first game. Then all of a sudden you have a goalie controversy.
Biz, you like Mini and how many, Biz, did you say?
I'll take Mini and 7. And I agree with it's going the distance. This is going to be one of those old school boxing fights that you talk about. RA 4 Kings.
Ooh, there you go.
I watched that one.
Ah, so good. Yeah, Minnesota obviously super hungry. This is the year they got to go for it. They're going to get whacked at all that recapture shit for the buyouts last year. St. Louis won it a couple years ago. Not to say they're not hungry, but Minnesota hasn't been here. They haven't been this far. I think they have cup aspirations. I think they're a little bit of a better team. Kaprizov, like you just said, unreal game breaker. And I give him a slight nod in the net as well. Talbot's been unreal since they got Fleury. Fleury right now is, I guess, the backup. So I like Minnesota in this series. I'm going to go Minnesota in 6.
Love it. Welcome aboard, RA.
Wow.
G, what do you got for us, G?
I'm not typically an X's and O's type guy, so I'm a loyalty guy. Bill Guerin welcomed us into his home, fed me a nice steak, so I got the Wild in 7.
You guys are pussies.
Welcome aboard.
I knew you guys are all afraid of Billy G, who I'm probably a little afraid of as well. But I have to stick to my guns here, and I can't let something like showing us his Lego castle affect my decision on who I think is going to win this series. But I'll say, Billy, I'll be very happy if you guys win.